Where to begin? Forsaken is quite the slimy game. It's one of the few games in my life that I really ever latched onto. Getting a lot of stats, low-level characters, and on my way to getting every single skin has only made me appreciate this game more and more, especially in terms of balancing. This brings me to the main point of this video. That being a certain killer, that of which my adoration for everything about it is almost endless. So, who may that be perfect killer be in my mind? Well, if you've read the title, then you know that it's Noli. No, unlike Slasher, a brute force and easy to understand killer that still has plenty of room for someone to take his simple moveset to the furthest possible. Cool kid at jack of all trades that has the most damage burst killer in this game. John Doe, probably the only killer with a high skill cap, especially with his limitless opportunities. And 1x1, I don't know how to describe them, but they are just as well designed as the others. Only had the most pressure, being the first new killer, along with the longest time taken for a killer to fit in with the others, with being unique. And personally, I feel like they did an amazing job and accomplished that. And I hope and honestly trust that Guest 666 will be the same. But how exactly does Noli accomplish this? Well, let's get into that right now. Concept! The one thing that not only starts the creation of great killer in a game like Forsaken, but also is one of the key factors that lead to said killer being great in its concept. Now, this isn't to say a killer needs an original and never done concept to be amazing. Killers like Cool Kid and 1x1, especially who don't fit into really any concept or idea, still function amazingly while remaining balanced and having fun counterplay on the survivor side. Now, going into the main concept behind Noli, and the thing this kit surrounds mainly, is hallucinations. The idea of hallucinations being in a game like this is an amazing idea, and I never really thought could really exist. But gonna be real, they did it incredibly well. The concept of having you question everything around you is incredible when done right. Having to differentiate of which generators are real, which Noli is the real one, to the point where you need to question if the time or the support you're getting is even real. It's just so good, I can't describe it. Now, the concept of a killer doesn't really matter much without the execution. If Noli was any different from how he is now, I genuinely think I wouldn't like him in the slightest. When a game such as Forsaken has to make a killer, it's very complicated, especially when trying to keep it balanced. Have counterplay while still being generally fun to play, and a room to grow with how do you utilize their kit. Even small things such as the M1 is crucial to making a killer. Something I feel people overlook is how hard the devs would have to work to make this killer. If we got Noli when people wanted it, it would be terrible. Playtesting, tweaking, and move changes are all crucial to make sure it's fun and balanced for both sides, and it sucks when people brush all of that aside with excuse that it took too long or that the community sucks. And stupid people may say that Noli is too weak and too strong. I'm about to explain why that's stupid to think. With difficulty and growth. Noli is a difficulty 5 killer, but what does that mean exactly? Well, let's put it like this. Let's say Slasher and Noli are both like toolkits. Slasher is simple, easy to understand, that deal big damage. Easy to pick up and use, but restrictive in its strategies and playstyles or ways to kill. Noli, on the other hand, has more obscure and not very easy moves to learn. While at a first glance may seem useless or unnecessary, but once you begin to understand how they work and how to utilize them, it can be used to stack massive damage in mere seconds. Nova, acting as an attack chain starter, or just a general way to deny space or make the survivor waste a bit more stamina. Void Rush being a mobility dash that can one-shot an Elliot if able to chain efficiently, and Observant being used to inflict hallucination for disorientation, and obviously just traveling around the map. All of this makes Noli one of the hardest killers yet. And honestly, one of the most powerful in potential. And it kinda sucks that people overlook Noli, especially because how much I love him. And other than that, that's kind of it. I mean, if you disagree, let me know in the comments or something stupid like that. This is all coming from level 286 Noli, by the way, so I understand greatly how he works. Now, originally, that that was where the video was gonna end. But I can't just have another 6-minute video up on the channel. So I decided to visit one of my old scripts. And, well, I'm just gonna record it here and put it in, because I think it's kind of interesting, and I don't feel like it going to waste. But a week after the Noli update dropped, and I had my fun, I couldn't help but think about why it took 6 months, even with the drama. Then I remembered the rework of Noli, and I couldn't help but wonder, what was he like beforehand? So this video gives a quick rundown of what we knew about Noli, and how I think he could have turned out in a different universe. Now, when Noli was still in his little beta self, it was clear that he was taking forever. And one of the main reasons was because they basically worked on a completely different route of Noli that, while it was fully finished, just wasn't fun to play as. Their words, not mine. So they reworked him, which I'm glad. I'd rather wait 6 months for a good killer rather than 1 month for a half-assed one. But it couldn't stop me from wondering what it would have been like if they stuck with it. Now, before I can answer this, no doubt, interesting question, I'm going to do a quick rundown of what Noli's moves were before this. Now, there isn't much remaining that I could find of Noli's old moveset, so I'm just going to go off of the few things that I do remember and the few videos that I do see. His M1 did 25 damage and was the same as it was now. Move 1, Implant. Now, this move was interesting, because it basically was the predecessor to Nova, but instead of a projectile, it would be a trap, and double as a little shmoo. The first use would be simply placing it on the ground, and if a survivor got in a certain radius of it, well, it'd explode with an even bigger hitbox than it is now, along with dealing 15 damage, and ragdolling the survivors for 0.4 seconds. I timed it, I think I did it correctly. Now, the interesting part about this is that we actually have some footage of Noli using Implant to inject it into Survivor, like a bomb. Now, what this would do is actually unknown. He also has had a move called Star Driven, which is literally just Void Rush. There's no difference, besides the name was changed, so it would be less similar to a certain someone. And his final move was Hallucination, which, from the looks of it, it would work the same as Observant, but instead wouldn't teleport him anywhere, and instead just give every survivor a tier of Hallucination with it stacking the further away they were. Now, something cool about Noli was that he couldn't run, which meant that walking would drain stamina. Along with this, he had 40 max stamina. Now, with all this, you may be thinking, what the Freaky Friday, bro? Thank God they scrapped this, it sounds like hell. Well, I guess it was. Noli's speed would be unmatched, and his stamina had the ability to go into the negatives, with a cap of -60. While in the negatives, his screen would darken and become more obscure until hitting the -60, and being stunned for 3 seconds. I don't know. When reading the script, I really don't know where I got that stun for 3 seconds part. So I'll take it with a grain of salt. Now, with all of this in mind, we can start imagining what Noli would be like. And I've come up with a little concept. Price! 1,100, same as now. Difficulty 5 out of 5. HP 1. Sprint speed 30 and walk speed 0. Stamina drain 10. Stamina gain 20. Stamina -60 to 40. Passives. Trickster. 3 extra fake generators spawn around the map, giving the survivor a stacking tier of hallucination for each puzzle completed. Tier 1 giving fake time, gen left, and fake chase themes. Tier 2 spawns fake pieces and Builderman stuff along with Duskar's shield. Tier 3 spawns a fake Noli that baits stuns and disorients survivors by obstructing objectives, but can't deal any real damage or move them in any way. Now, the way the generators would work for this is that either the first or second one would be fucked up, rather than being the latter. So, you would have to check it twice before continuing the generator, and that's really the only difference. I see you. Every survivor with hallucination is revealed to him. The higher tier of hallucination, the more clear and precise of a reading it is. Variable breaking. Noli isn't affected by slowness, poisoned, burned, etc. Due to this, he does not recover stamina when being stunned. Along with this, his stamina is 40 but can go as low as -60. One of the negatives, Noli's screen gets more purple and obscure along with his speed losing momentum at a minimum of 26 until it reaches -60, of which all effects disappear, but he's stunned for 20 seconds and his stamina is set to 0. And obviously, the slowness part, like not being affected by things, is obviously does not work against Builderman's Sentry or Duskar's little sappy thing. Now let's move on to his abilities. Stab. With a cooldown of 2.2 seconds, Noli simply stabs forward with a long windup dealing 2.5 damage. Hitting the survivor with his hallucination gets rid of said hallucination entirely. Star Driven. a silly little cooldown of 20. Exact same as Void Rush, except one moving with Void Rush only gains 5 stamina for every survivor they hit. Slamming is the same, dealing 30 base damage, but an extra 3.5 with each hit. Second move, Implant. With a cooldown of 18, Noli can use this in 2 cases. The first being on the ground. He simply slams the Void Star into the ground, making a small white dot glimmering, acting as a trap. If a survivor is in a certain radius of it, slightly bigger than John Doe's traps as it seems in the footage I had, they are dealt 15 damage and knocked away. Unragdolled for 0.4 seconds. If used on a survivor in a slightly smaller radius as Jason's gashing wound, he grabs the survivor and puts the Void Star into them, turning them into a walking bomb. The survivor has no control over what they do and are forced to sprint with all of their stamina, which is set to 100 at the start of the move, even if lowered, towards the nearest survivor. After the stamina is gone, they explode, dealing more damage the closer they are to a survivor. He is about taking 30 damage himself. Touching deals them 30. Near is 20, far is 10. I don't know the exact, how big studs are, so I can't really give exact measurements. This move can also be detonated early by Noli if the stamina doesn't drain fast enough. During this move, the implanted survivor is highlighted along with anyone near them, along with being highlighted for an extra 4 seconds after being hit. While detonating, Noli is stationary and it takes 0.3 seconds for the survivor to blow up. Final move, Hallucination. Noli stands still and snaps the Void Rush between his little grippy hands, releasing a burst of white energy, giving survivors hallucination the further they are within a 1.45 second animation. This will give hallucinations to all survivors in tiers of 1, 2, and 3, with the studs being 20, 60, and 100. Stunning Noli during this will cancel the move entirely. Basically, what's it called? Observant, but without the, teleportation-ing. Now, this is pretty much his reworked moveset to hopefully be better. But remember, I'm not experienced. I'm not a balancer. This is not the same quality as the dev team can make as concepts. So take it with a grain of salt and let me know what you think. Other than that, bye-bye. I'll see you later.